I'm sure we're all familiar with power banks to charge our smartphones. They come in all shapes and sizes, and sometimes even some cool colors and design options as well. And while they are pretty good for charging your smartphone once or twice in order to get you through a long day, sometimes you need to go just a little bit bigger. This here is the Zendure SuperBase 1000M with more than enough power to charge your laptop or smartphones and even keep a mini fridge cool for hours on end, plus a whole lot more. So let's put this thing to the test to see what it can actually do in the real world. Now, with summer right around the corner, I thought the perfect test for this portable solar generator would be to see how it handles itself in a simulated overnight camping trip right here in my backyard. And since we are trying to see how much power this can deliver, we're going to go a little bit overboard on the electronics that we're going to be using on this overnight trip. Now, the first test we're going to do with the Zendure battery is see if it can charge my laptop. I'm going to be doing work outside here today, and it only has a 30% charge, which definitely isn't enough for being outside here for a good 12 hours today. So let's plug this thing into the USB-C power delivery port and get it charged up. Let's go over the specifications of the Zendure SuperBase 1000M to give you an idea of what it actually delivers. As far as ports go, there's more than you'll probably actually need, with 3 12-watt USB-A ports, a USB-C port with 100 watts of power delivery, 2 72-watt DC ports, a 126-watt cigarette charger connection, and then 2 1000-watt AC outlets that can plug in pretty much anything else that you need to power with this battery. The built-in AC inverter is capable of delivering 1,000 watts of continuous power with a peak going up to 1,500 watts for just a few seconds in case you're starting up something like an air conditioner. But what's truly unique here is that the SuperBase 1000M actually comes without a built-in fan to keep things cool. Instead, it actually uses its unique aluminum design as a massive heatsink to keep the internal batteries and the electronics cool, even on a hot day like today. And for reference, it's currently 88 degrees out here, so it's not cool at all. And even though the footprint of this battery is pretty small compared to the competition, the lithium ion phosphate batteries that's on the inside here deliver 1,016 watt hours of capacity and also are rated for 3,000 full charge cycles, which means after using this charging and discharging even once a day for 8 full years, at that point you'll still have 80% of its original capacity, which is honestly pretty impressive. After about an hour of charging while working, it looks like the battery is nearly full at 97% here. And this took off about 8% charge from the Zendure battery, which means we still have a long ways to go before we can drain this thing completely. For a family of 4, it typically wouldn't be uncommon for somebody to bring a laptop or a tablet, 3 to 4 smartphones, some lights to keep things lit up at night, and even an air pump to pump up an air mattress or 2. And also, we've added a digital projector because watching a movie out in the wilderness is always fun as well. So let's get camp set up and see what this battery can do. But as I mentioned, we do have that speaker, or not a speaker, the projector, but it doubles as a speaker as well. It has built-in Harman Kardon speakers. So we're going to turn on some music as we get camp all set up. Let's get to it. And there we have it, tents all set up. As I mentioned before, we do bring our smartphones with us when we go camping, not only as a form of communications in case of an emergency and whenever something might go wrong, but also just as a tool for documenting our adventures, capturing photos and videos as we go along. And if you do capture pictures on a regular basis, you know how quickly that drains the battery on your smartphone. So with the Zendure SuperBase 1000M, we're hoping to be able to charge up all 4 of these devices. All of these have 5,000 milliamp hour batteries on the inside, except for the Oppo Find X3 Pro, which has a 4,500 milliamp hour battery. But still, these are all extremely large batteries. A lot of smartphones have smaller batteries than this. So let's plug these in and see what we can get the output of the battery to be. As you can see, we still have the projector plugged in here since we're using that as a Bluetooth speaker, and it's pulling 24 watts as it's plugged in here to the AC outlet. But let's plug in the smartphones to see how much power we can draw from this battery to get those charged up. We're going to be also using a Zendure power brick here to plug into the other AC outlet, since this is going to charge things a lot faster than the 12-watt USB-A ports that we have. And finally the Pixel 6, get this plugged in, and it's going to take a minute for this to ramp up. So it looks like we've settled in at about 78 to 79 watts while charging the 4 smartphones and the projector, which honestly isn't much given that we can take this up to 1,000 watts continuous or even 1,500 watts. So let's plug in the air pump and push this up even higher as we pump up the air mattress for the tent. And I did have to swap things around a little bit with the ports and plug in an extension cord here just so that we can plug this additional air pump in as well. Well, that's definitely nice and comfy. As you saw there, the battery peaked at about 180 watts while pumping this up, and it looks like it only drained 1% from the overall battery capacity. We're still sitting at 89%, and I honestly don't know how we're gonna drain this thing completely in a full day, but we still have those smartphones charging up connected to the battery, so once we get to a full charge, we'll check in again to see what the battery percentage is at on the Zendure SuperBase 1000M. So as those smartphones continue to charge, let's take a quick minute to talk a little bit about the competition, because I honestly think this is where the Zendure truly stands out, specifically when talking about weight and also the overall size of the power bank. The Zendure actually comes in about 10% lighter than the Jackery Explorer 1000 and the Bluetti EB70, which both weigh about 21.5 pounds, while this one here, the SuperBase 1000M, weighs 18.3 pounds, which makes a huge difference. But the size difference between these different devices is astonishing, with the Zendure being 40% smaller than these two other battery banks, which when you're taking it out into the wild and carrying it around makes a huge difference. It's honestly not even a competition, especially compared to the Bluetti, which only has a 716 watt-hour battery and also an only 700 watt inverter that's built in. Now, charging up those smartphone batteries did take a bit of a toll on the battery here, leaving us with a 76% charge remaining, but that should definitely be enough to run a movie for a couple hours with that projector once it gets dark, and also keeping the lights on in order to give us some light around the camp. And for the final test for this battery, we're going to be setting up that projector to watch a movie for about 2 hours while also plugging in these incandescent light bulbs that are going to pull quite a bit of power from the battery. After all that, I do have to say that I am thoroughly impressed with the Zendure SuperBase 1000M, because even after running a projector for 2 hours last night to watch a movie and keeping the lights on as well, we're still left with a 37% charge today, which means if you do your camping trips a little bit more conservative than what I just did, and maybe don't have a projector and a laptop to bring along, this should provide more than enough power to make it through 2 or 3 nights of camping and keeping your regular electronics charged up as well. As far as the pricing goes, typically Zendure prices the SuperBase 1000M at $1,099, which is pretty competitive when you're looking at similarly spec'd solar generators similar to this one. But we've actually partnered with Zendure to give you guys a discount. If you use offer code Phandroid when checking out from Zendure's website, they'll give you a $300 discount, bringing the final price down to $799. I'd like to thank Zendure for partnering with us on that, and also thank you guys for watching this video as well. And if you do have any questions about the SuperBase 1000M, be sure to drop them in the comments and I'll answer them as best as I can. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.